Ah, there it is. Now my audio is here. Okay. Can you speak to?
Yeah, sure.
All right. That looks good enough to me. Okay. Now we can actually have audio. So, let's go into this. I'm
Let's
going
go,
into
bro.
this a little bit blind, but let's just talk about some of the things that we talked about from last time when we did our last session. What were some of the
Yeah.
big things that we discussed?
Line of sight,
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure that we could cover the areas like laid out cooldowns, like for going behind them, not stay in the line sight, for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Okay.
In yeah, that was like one of the main ones I remember.
All right. All right. All right. Okay. So that's great. We're going to be looking at those things. We're going to make sure that you're doing those things pretty well. We're also going to be looking to see if we can find and identify anything else. And I mean, yeah, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Looking at your composition, um, what I will notice from your team composition is that you've got a whole bunch of long range characters on your team, and you are like, besides the music to a degree, I don't know what to consider Mizuki's effective range yet, right? But I do know that you are definitely a close range hero. So what is that? What do you think that means for you into how you're going to be positioning in these kind of settings?
Of course, I have to like get up to a certain uh, degree of distance to like where I could poke and still like be a threat to them,
Mm-hmm.
but also like in a line of sight where my DPS will like have uh, shot to the enemy.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like a balance between that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So looking at your DPS's heroes and your
Mm.
Wu Yang specifically, right? What do you think is the weakness of those heroes in terms of the spaces that they can control? What do you think?
You mean like what's like go a little deeper?
Huh?
Could you like go a little bit deeper? I didn't
Okay.
understand
So
fully.
what I'm asking essentially is that, like, in terms of like the different types of spaces around the map. So like looking at
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, spaces like out here, like in here, down here, maybe over here, right? When we're
Mhm.
talking about like, playing these heroes, you notice that these heroes kind of have a longer effective range. They want to have
Yeah.
more longer open sight lines to be able to shoot things, right? So what problems does that pose for, when they're trying to control the majority of the map? What types of spaces on the map are going to be uncomfortable for these characters to control?
Oppose. Or
Right.
like, yeah.
Right. So those enclosed areas, those enclosed spaces are going to be a lot less comfortable for these characters to control. But ding ding ding, congratulations. We just locked in a hero that's really really good at controlling those spaces, right? So if we're going to be thinking about, strategic components in terms of like, okay, how am I thinking about playing this right now? Looking at just the hero composition so far, you're probably going to just say, all right, I'm going to go control close range spaces, and most importantly, just stop the enemy team from walking onto mine. Right?
Hmm, for
Does that
sure.
make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see what you do. Okay. So from that kind of idea that we had so far initially, right, with the controlling
Mhm.
certain close range spaces, how do you feel your positioning works in that regard so far?
I'm not quite sure. Like on this map, especially, it's
Mm-hmm.
like for me, should I go right side because I'm hogged to take less damage from like the outside,
Mm-hmm.
or should I go left because that's usually where the enemy tank goes, just to keep the pressure off my DPSs?
Right. Right.
So for me, it would be like natural to go this side just to like take a bit of the pressure off like the other teammates of mine.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, when it comes to how the kind of space and map works, and what the kind of thing is that, sure, you kind of like the idea of like controlling the space in front of your team to make sure that the enemy team can't like walk and take all of the space out here, but a
Hmm.
very big thing about, you know this space over here being so comfortable for your hero and being so hard to push you out from is that if I go here, right, I can now just proceed to just walk forward, control all of this space on the map up here. I mean, they have a Symmetra that's going to come over here, but ignoring that for now, we're going to get back to that. I can go and take all and control all of the space of the map up here, and then this would give me a good opportunity to kind of fish for hooks on backline, right?
Yep.
So it's not necessarily that like you are kind of giving up on the opportunity to just hold space in front of your team, right? But what are you also gaining as a result of that? I'm also gaining the opportunity to kind of just like hit backline, get some really big hooks, draw some resources this way and some attention this way. Because if this Domino looks and sees you on your backline and goes, screw it, I'm gonna go and try and push out the Roadhog, then that gives a whole lot more space for your team out here on point, right?
Yep. Sure.
And if she doesn't, well, then somebody might die, and that's nice, right? But the biggest reason, the biggest kind of idea, right? Actually, I kind of want you to try and figure this out, right? What is the biggest reason? What is going to be the biggest, most important factor that necessitates this lane over here being controlled? Why is controlling this lane out here really important? What do you think?
I think important of the right side. Maybe it's like it would spread the team a lot, so it would be like different off angles just for the enemies, my teammates to just get some damage to the enemies. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. No. That's a really good answer. That's actually a really good answer, right? Or it's like, okay, if I control this space on the map, like let's say I'm pushing up here, right? If my Sojourn sees an opportunity to kind of get an off angle on the Domina, and she walks in here, don't you think that she's going to be able to get that good damage, control a different sight line, and be able to walk forward and do whatever she wants?
Yeah, she would probably, because Domina would like most likely go to me, obviously.
Right. Okay. So if people do end up coming to you, then it means that what would she do then? Well, then she would just keep deepening out here, but instead she can deepen even farther because there's not going to be a Domina in her face to push her into a wall and one-shot her, right?
Yep.
So there's going to be that, and then the biggest thing, the really big thing, when it comes to the importance of controlling this lane on the map over here is this thing, right here, right? Because now, what can Symmetra do right here? What are the things that she can do from this position?
You just poke.
Right. What happens if your team tries to push her out of a position like this?
She just TP back and we lost like the space from the left side.
Okay. Yeah, we lose the space from the left side, and she just can TP back. But does she even need to TP back? I mean, if we look at the situation, can't she just put like 2 turrets up down here?
Yeah, she's very strong in the close areas right there, so it would be like not easy to push her.
Right. Especially for like things like your Wu Yang, things like your Sojourn, things like your Widowmaker. Like clearing out this Symmetra is going to be really strong. So she's extremely strong in a space like this. Who's stronger?
Me.
Right. And so now I can go walk here, clear Symmetra. If she dies, that's great. If she doesn't die, I get the space that I want, and I can push back in. And the reason why this is kind of going to be a better thing to conceptualize than going over here and taking this lane out this way is because in this lane, I know that I'm going to be the strongest hero that's going to be present here. Right?
Yep.
If I'm out here, am I going to be the strongest hero? Well, probably not. I mean, just looking at this Ashe alone is probably going to be, a candidate for number 1 right now. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So, if we're thinking about what lane of the map that we want to start controlling first, majority of the time we're going to be thinking about what lane gives me the space that's strongest for my hero. Right?
So, in a certain degree, just play like for the hero's architecture of the map.
Yes.
In some sense.
Yes.
Okay.
And the idea though is that if the enemy team isn't playing in that space, and I can't touch them, then instead of going back to my team, I'm just going to walk forward and take as much space on the map as they'll give me. Right.
Yep. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see this here. That sucks. That's rough. This sucks. This is rough. And where do we end up? Right.
Yes, back.
Right.
Yep.
And this feels awful. This feels. Oh, wait a minute. And you didn't do it. Right. Now, that being said, the enemy team made a lot of significant errors here. If we can kind of look at what ends up happening over here. Well, for starters, I think your Widow gets a really good pick off on somebody. Who was it? Ooh, Wu Yang. Okay. So, if we look at this, Wu Yang just kind of went. She had an access to a really strong off angle, compressed that angle, went into main, and then got completely deleted for it. Right? Domino
Yeah.
had access to a really powerful off angle on this side of the map. Went in main, and then started doing absolute air, just spamming damage into a Roadhog the entire time. Right? All of these guys, with the exception of this Symmetra, which doesn't take advantage of this space at all, right? So she kind of sucks out here. She should still probably be over here trying to control this side of the map, but like she doesn't take advantage of the space at all. But everybody else just kind of compress their angle in main. So when you start compressing your angle in main, it doesn't necessarily feel as bad, right? But what happens if the Wu Yang swings out this way? What happens if the Domina controls his side? What happens if the Ashe is still here in main? What happens if the Mizuki is like kind of like playing wherever the heck he wants? They can start swinging outside of your Widowmaker's LOS, controlling all of this map space, and you can't do squat about it.
Yeah, because they made like this certain situation pretty easy for me, because if they just took a lot of off angles, I would just be automatically almost dead because so many angles.
Right. So how do we stop them from taking all of those off angles?
For starters, take the right side on the smaller room.
Okay. Yeah, but
and there's pressure.
Yeah. But in a more general sense, right? How do you stop taking? Yep. How do you stop people from taking off angles on any map?
Presence? I don't know.
Yeah, just take them first, right? Right. Take the lane first. Control the lane first. They can't use the lane to set up their angle, right? That's the big idea when it comes to lane control and understanding. Okay, but again, if these guys don't shoot themselves in the foot here, this is looking really bad for you. Okay. Start poking. I don't particularly love extending this far up because the map space doesn't give you too much. What I would rather here is actually, like, what I would probably rather here is you just walking up, taking a time to like walk up to this high ground position and then just using this, leveraging this to kind of fish for hooks, because this feels a little bit more comfortable, I would say, right? But yeah, this feels open, and the second that the enemy team walks through here, gets close and starts to walk through here, you're gonna be in trouble. So you're gonna need to make sure that you run quick, right? And even then, you get shot at a whole bunch, took a whole bunch of poke damage, and then you're using breather, right? So not great. Another argument can be made for you making a greedier rotation down here into this side to go fish for a hook this way, which could work, but again, problem though.
It's risky though.
Right. It's risky because it's really, really close. So they can easily kind of decide to force you out first before your team even has the ability to interact with the fight, right? So in terms of positioning, if we're looking at the different possible positions, like let's say you've selected your lane, right? Your lane has now been selected. We're like, okay, I'm going to control this lane of the map. Now, if I'm going to say what position am I going to take on this lane, there's going to be a bunch of things that are going to be important to consider, but it's primarily going to be, right, number one, what is the deepest position on the lane that I can comfortably take? Number two, which is the comfort part of it, is how close am I to the enemy team, and how far am I away from my team's reach to be able to support me, right? And then that third thing is, do I have the map architecture that I want, right? So it's like, I'm on this lane. If we evaluate this position right here, am I within my team's reach to support me? Yes. Is this relatively deep on the lane? Yes. But at the same time, is this my map architecture? No. Okay, so what's my better map architecture? This. But what's the problem with this? This is way too deep, right? They can hit me before my team is able to come anywhere near close to support me, right? But then I think about a position like this one. This is close enough to my team to be for my team to be able to reach me, and if not being able to reach me, then they can at least take some of the space that I pull away from the enemy team. Right? This is playing relatively decently to my map architecture. I can control this space relatively comfortably, right? And also, it's deep enough that I can rotate even deeper and control space later. Right? You got what I mean?
100%.
Okay. All right. So we looked at this. We looked at you getting kind of poked out here, forced out here. Okay. Right. All right. Okay. So you made this kind of rotation over here onto this side, and I kind of like this. I just want you to commit. If you're going to make a rotation to another lane, if you're going to switch to a lane, which this would be the perfect time to switch lanes right now, right, is before the enemy team actually gets in a range to be able to do anything. If you have that time to switch lanes, then you can switch lanes now. So if you are going to switch lanes, then I would want you to commit once the enemy's there, right? If you're going to stay here, sit here and control this space on this lane this way. Right? The problem is that you start rotating up here, you're like, oh, let me look at the Ash, let me look at the Ash. What's more important is taking the space. Right? Because now that you're back here, now you can't switch lanes. You get what I mean? Because if you try, then the Dominant just goes into your backline and just wins. Right? Okay, so you shoot at that. This feels a little bit uncomfortable, and then again, you go back over here. I mean, like, whatever. Okay. What do you think's the problem here?
I shouldn't have bothered looking at the sim, I think.
And why do you think that?
Because now the Dominant, for instance, Mizuku, and everything can just push forward because I'm even not pressuring them at all.
Right. So we took all the space on this lane. We have this lane controlled. Our goal is to stop people from taking the space on this lane. So this Symmetra used a cheat ability to kind of go straight through into your backline outside of your range and outside of your reach to be able to do anything. If she ended up closer to you, it made sense to kind of be able to like kind of look at her and shoot at her. But at this point, she's completely gone. So in your kind of mind, you should be like, okay, she's not in my reach anymore. I can't do anything. I can't do anything to this Symmetra, so I'm going to focus on what's right here, right?
Yep.
Which is controlling this lane, right? Okay, now we get more into the micro of it. When you are controlling a lane, right? What's really important is understanding off angles, right? Now we have an idea of like off angles from a general sense. It's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to be at an off angle from my team, and I'm going to be like controlling space on this side of the map while they're controlling space on this side of the map, yada yada yada, right? But what's important is also the attention and the direction that enemies are looking to apply pressure in. If I just sit right here in front of the lane, if I just sit straight on top of it, right, then this Domino is going to just walk in, look at me, shoot at me before my team is really going to have an opportunity to shoot at them, right? If I let them walk in a little bit, then my team can shoot them as they're walking in, and I can shoot them as well from this corner, and they are going to have to look in two different angles, right? Or if I go and wrap around on this side, or like hold behind this pillar, it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing, where they're going to have to shoot them going. They're going to be able to shoot them going in through this way. I'm going to be able to shoot them going as they're coming in through this way, right?
Yep.
Now, the point is. The point is like if we stand right in front of, and actually no, I kind of already explained all of that. This though right here, what you're kind of doing by like standing out here and just like shooting them in the face, right, is kind of similar to taking this position up here, right? Where it's like, okay, what was wrong with taking this position up here is that the fact that the enemy team could get to me before my team was able to actually get, do anything to them. Right? If we look at what you ended up doing over here, when you started walking forward and taking damage, right? they're not necessarily in deep enough in a position, or at least a majority of the enemy team is not deep enough into a position where my team can kind of reach them and interact with them, but they can all interact with me to a significant degree, right? So you want to manage that. You want to be like, okay, I want to make sure that more of the enemy needs to be exposed to my team in order for them to do anything that they want to do here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's fine. Okay. Alright. There's a couple things that you could do here. What do you think that, now that I've kind of paused this, what do you think you want to do?
When I was in the situation, I was like, I have to kill this down. She's literally won.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at the picture overall, it was like it would be such an easier kill to like get Mizuku or push down their backline because they're so vulnerable.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. There's one thing where it's like Domina's going in and she's kind of pushing, overextending way into your backline, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you know, you're kind of turning around to look for the Domina. You know, you could try and kill the Domina, but the Domina is going to be behind the shield, just going to walk over here this way, and it's going to be really hard to, right? Or you could just say, all right, I'm going to push into these guys, and I'm going to go get some trades, which is going to be easier for me. Honestly, this isn't necessarily that bad because the enemy team doesn't have that great of a setup on this space at all. You could literally just like chill on this corner, shoot people, and then have fun, right? Yep. Now, when would this be problematic? When would pushing back into their backlane be problematic in this situation?
You mean if like when the situation is like when the Domina is there, or
yeah? So Domina's still here, right?
Yeah.
Mizuki's still here, right? And your team is still where they are. What would kind of make going up here and trying to hold this space a little bit less comfortable for you?
I don't know if the it's quite early, actually.
Huh?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. So let's say you're here and you're trying to shoot.
Yeah.
You're trying to shoot at the Mizuki and whatnot after Domina's kind of pushing this space, right? If we look at Domina, the reason why Domina is, you know, overextended right now, right, and why this sucks for her a lot is because she has to deal with damage coming in from like many different off angles while also not being able to be supported by her team. You can walk up here and you can deal damage to this one angle without being supported by your team and then comfortably sit fine. But what happens if this Wu Yang decides to come this way? Right?
Then it will be problematic.
Right. That might feel a little awkward. Right? But then you're like, normally in game, it's like, oh, it's fine. If Wu Yang goes that way, then my teammates that's over here is going to be able to control this off angle. But what's wrong is that your teammates aren't really there.
Nope.
Right? So you're extending into space that your team isn't present in, which isn't always bad. It's just dangerous. And how it's dangerous is the fact that they could just get a setup on your position. Now, over here, they don't have that setup. So you can take advantage of that by trading the Mizuki. Right?
Mm.
Or you could go back reasonably and kill the Domina, right? Because think about it. If we go back and try to kill the Domina here, sure, we'd be giving up the space, but all we would need to do is just kill this thing, right? Hold on to the space that we currently have, and then, you know, heal up a little bit, go and push them all back out later. We would have a significant advantage because this Domina is giving us a significant advantage in that case, right? Or, alternatively, you could just do neither of those two things. Just hold the position that you're currently in and then see what happens next and what you want to do later. You don't have to do anything immediately right now. There's nothing that is requiring your immediate attention. So there's 3 different options of things that you can kind of do here, right? All of which are viable. It's just it depends on how you execute them and how you respond to it later, right?
Yep.
Okay, we go for the Domina. That's fine. And now we chill. And now we walk back in. Perfectly fine, right? We could have instead just, you know, once we saw this happening, just sat here, shot at the Domina. If these guys come closer, then I go and say, oh, nope, Mizuki, nope, you can't contribute to the fight. Oh, no, Ryang, you can't contribute to the fight. Oh, no, Ash, you can't contribute to the fight. And then wait until the Domina dies, right?
Mm.
Or I could be like, oh, Domina's in? Wait, they're all stacked in main? Let me just walk in and start trading the heck out of their backline, right? Which is a higher risk situation, but is it reasonable that you're going to be able to kill things? Is it reasonable that you're going to be able to get those trades? Yeah, probably. Right? So, there's going to be a lot of situations where it doesn't really matter what you do. But the reason why these situations happen and the reason why you have access to all of these really, really good options is because where are you? In a really, really good spot, right?
Yeah.
Within reach of your team, controlling this lane, have space that's relatively more comfortable for your hero. There's more compressed sightlines here for Roadhog, more areas for me to kite out if danger arises. This is a really, really strong position, and from a strong position comes strong options. Okay, nice. Nice. They go Orisa. Now, here's a small little micro error that's been, a little bit consistent. Is like peeking this is totally fine. Walking here is not, right? Where it's like, okay, this is just too much. This is way too much exposure, and it's going to be take you a little bit longer for you to get back to your main. So depending on how much poke the enemy team actually has, they might be able to punish or hard punish you for this, right? So
sure.
Yeah. So this is something you need to keep in mind.
And this is where the game kind of turns, because as she went Orisa, I just felt like my presence and everything just went straight down, and so everything just went straight downwards from this certain time.
Okay.
So
right. So here's the really fun thing about when it comes to playing into counters is that if we took you versus Orisa, right, and we picked both of you guys up, put you guys all back here, put Orisa here, put you here, which one of you is probably doing more in this situation? Probably the Orisa, because of the fact that she's kind of a counter to you, right? Problem is that these situations don't happen in a vacuum, right? You have your entire team. The Orisa has her entire team. You guys have different space and angles and resources around the map that can be leveraged at different times to do different things. So when it comes to counter picks, right, a lot of the times they kind of interact with each other in the 1v1 very negatively in terms of hard counters, or I wouldn't even consider Orisa a hard counter, right? But generally speaking, you can still play around this, and you can still play your hero kind of comfortably around this. It's going to be a little bit awkward, right? But what you really need is, how can I leverage my teammates more, right? Then and kind of get away with it. Now, if we were talking about the situation before, well, I'm not going to go all the way back, but the situation before when you were here, you're like, okay, I can just go back through here without necessarily directly having my team nearby and being able to help me and support me, because of the fact that, oh, well, they're playing, they're not playing anything that's going to hard punish me going over here, right? But now that changed. So it just means that it's one more option that you don't get. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely out of the picture. So we're going to see it. We're going to check and see how you play around this. Okay. So, first things first. What is problematic with your current positioning?
The current situation, I'm just not doing anything at all. For the second part is I don't set up in a way that my DPS or teammates would get anything off where I'm positioned.
Right. Okay. So then, how do we change that? What specifically do we need to do?
Maybe in my opinion, I think I would have moved to the left behind one of the poles and just poked there. I don't know.
Okay. Right. Move to the left over here. Maybe poke over here behind this box or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. This is totally great. Right. Or you could potentially go and walk in here and then push this Mizuki. Right.
Yeah. That also.
But what does both of those things achieve?
so line of sight for my teammates for the first,
Eh,
and a
okay.
different angle.
Different angle, right? Different sight line, controlling different space. Right now, you're kind of sitting in main, right? And what that is allowing the enemy to do is it's allowing them to take an angle this way. It's allowing them to take an angle this way. And essentially, if you're opening that space up to allow them to take those angles on you, then it's going to suck. I am going to lean to a side. I'm either going to lean to the left or I'm going to lean to the right. And I'm going to use map geometry, right? Or, a giant freaking pit to, to stop the enemy team from being able to take any off angles from me from me on this way, right? Or take any off angles on me this way, right? So that way, I am not going to get angled out and pushed out and die, right? As
Yep.
opposed to sitting in main. So big thing that we want to do is take a lane, right? Take a side of the map, and then kind of lean on that side so that I don't get angled out. And that allows me to control the space on the lane. It also stops the enemy team from getting easy angles on me, right?
Yep.
Okay? So she ends up pushing you into this angle, which is probably going to feel relatively more comfortable than anything else. You push her out. What's the problem? Again, what's the problem?
Just up close with her alone in a 1v1 in a certain way.
Right. But again, if we look at the situation, where did you go? So if you look at where you are currently, right, where did you go to from where you were?
Landed main and got pushed into the room with Orisa.
Right. So you were here and you were pushed into the room with the Orisa, and you're like, okay, this sucks, but it's not too bad. But then after that, you walk out here, and now who can shoot you from what angles? Right. Look at that. Like every single angle, all of those angles, right? Whereas if instead you shot the Orisa and you chill right here, right, and not try to run back out this way, then that means that they can only shoot you from a few angles, right? So again, leaning to the lane, right, blocking off other angles from shooting at me, and playing at a distance so that I'm not going to get hard rushed by 30,000 people. Right?
Yep.
Okay, so that was expensive. That's also extremely expensive, and you need to get out of here. Like this is like, yeah, no, you're not able to get this now because like your team is all the way back here. You're gonna get isolated really, really fast, and because you get isolated really, really fast, that's why your HPs drop so dramatically. Right.
So it was nothing to do there, but I should have gone back way earlier
Right.
as well.
12 HP. It's crazy. You should be dead. Oh my gosh. Oh, and there it is.
Yep. I just felt like from here on out, I just made so many mistakes that I usually don't do. So I was just so frustrated after this game.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's going to happen. But a really, really big thing that we need to do is clear our head and ignore the obvious mistakes that we make to go and look back and see what not obvious things that we did. Because a lot of times the obvious mistakes are only, symptoms of a larger disease that we can kind of get here. And in terms of you, you're positioning way too much on the insides of the map, right? Way too much in the middle of everything, such that everyone can kind of collapse on you, get angles on you wherever you want, and it doesn't give you opportunities to do the same, right?
Nope.
Okay, so this is another time we're committing to this lane. I just don't like this. It just does not give you too much. You can, sit over here, hit a hook on the Orisa if she walks over this way and hook her off the map, but besides that...
Probably gonna get speared as well, though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, besides that, this is just, it doesn't feel comfortable for you. There's way too many areas of the map where the enemy team can just shoot you from a whole bunch of different angles and ranges that you just cannot interact with, right? Whereas if we go over here, only one angle can shoot me, and it's Ash, and I can spam this Ash down and then walk and then maybe hook something or just keep walking until everything's all right. If everything's not okay and I keep getting poked out from like 30 different angles, I just drop and then I hold this, right? And then I just keep holding this, and then I'll walk up, and then I'll see if I can get a hook kill, and if not, then I just walk back and I just chill inside my little cubby hole. You get what I mean?
Yep.
Right. There's more safety over here than there is over here, so I make sure you keep that in mind when you're choosing your lanes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Zarya.
Yeah, it's not my strongest character at all.
All right.
So.
Okay. So what between Zarya and Roadhog changes the way that you're going to play this?
Pretty much, it's like the concept is like fairly the same because I'm still better at close range.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
So pretty much exactly the same. Right.
Yep.
Same way that you're going to play this either way. So the same issues that you were having on Roadhog, if you have the same problems on Zarya too, you're going to be running into the same mistakes, counterpick or not. Right? Let's see how you play into this though.
Oh, it's so painful to see, bro. So painful to see this in replay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. The more painful it is to see, is the more it sticks in the brain. Is the more that we can, recover from this. So you gotta endure the pain for now. Okay. Right. Same kind of problem, same kind of concept of going over here, right? Now, in this situation, it's a little bit better because your team has, their long-range DPS have kind of taken more angles on this side of the map. So you going over here feels better because they are taking angles over this way, right? And this allows you to kind of sit in a position like this, but how you would play this is a lot more reserved, use cover to cover, close, and not positioning yourself out here where like 30 people can shoot you, right?
Yep.
Okay, good kite. Yeah, and then that's that. Come. Alright. Okay, now they're playing a wrecking ball, which is always fun.
I just got the gut feeling they're probably gonna go Orisa.
Yeah, they probably just swapped Orisa. Okay, so this is gonna be a bit awkward, but if we look at the situation, when it comes to the lanes on the map that you can control, is there any really bad options for you here?
I think like the architecture on the right and left both are like beneficial for Hog. But I usually go like for this. I just usually go for left side just because it feels more comfortable just for me personal. But right. I guess I could have gone right with my team, or I'm not sure.
Okay. What I'm trying to say, though, what I was trying to get to, which you pretty much almost got to it, is the fact that pretty much anywhere you go here is going to feel comfortable for a Roadhog, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is probably going to be a little bit more comfortable than this, I would say, right? Because then there's kind of some areas where you can get hit with a lot more long-range angles as well. But, like, but they're both still fine for a Roadhog to position, and then in main, normally it would not be fine for a lot of other tanks to position, but I mean, you're playing Roadhog. If anything looks your way, they're just down in the hole. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's the main issue.
Right. So this is gonna look great. What I just really want you to do is I want you to find a lane, pick a lane, commit to that decision, and then just if you don't see anything, just keep going, right?
Yeah, because that's my main problem when I like see for example at this moment I was like, okay, my team goes on the right, should I go with them or should I just go left? And then I just get indecisive. And for example, it's hard for me to commit because it's not that I get so insecure, but it's like more almost like second
Right.
guessing my decision.
Right. Your intuition is essentially going going haywire, saying that like there is a
Yeah.
chance that we are going to absolutely get folded, and I'm going to be responsible for that because I'm not going to be there. But
Yep.
in those contexts, I'm sorry to say it, it's on your team. If they get cooked, it's on them, right? Now, there is an argument to say that being over here would isolate you a little bit too much in this scenario, but these guys need to understand the composition. They need to understand what the heck is going on, and they need to be able to kite out if necessary, right?
Mm.
You are not responsible for their safety. You're responsible for, doing your job. So as long as you're doing the things that are necessary for that action, you're going to be fine, right? You could have commit this way. Honestly, I would like it even less based off the fact that your entire team is already down here, right?
That was the main reason that I didn't go with them as well was like because I thought like, okay, since they're going on the right side, maybe I could just make some more chests on the left and make them maybe rotate so my
Right.
team could get more space.
Right,
So,
right. And that's a good intuition to have, right? Again, if the rest of the space all out here was open map, then I would be like, oh, okay, well then I'm just gonna go here whether my team's here or not, right? But the rest of the place isn't open map. There's a lot of spaces that I can play on Roadhog, so I might as well just go. And if I start going over here and I see that there's nobody here, I don't care about my team. I'm not going to cheat through here to try and interact with the fight early. I'm just going to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going until I hit their backline, right?
Yep.
Right? Like that's what you need to do. And the big part of the instinct and big part of kind of breaking that instinct is having the ability to like look at the situation and go, my team is responsible for themselves and their own safety. Right? I am responsible for doing my job, so I need to find out what my job is and then do that. Right? If I see that I have, and the decision for where we can go should be already made by this point. You should be thinking, you should have been pretty much thinking about this in spawn. But if we go up here and we see our team start rotating in that side, then that should immediately be like, okay, now I'm locked into going over here. Now I know I'm going over there, right?
Yep.
And also, the third thing actually that's going to make this a lot more comfortable, practice, right? Just doing it. And having that comfort of doing it just by practicing it over and over again. Right? Okay? But this is not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Better. But you wasted all that time. You could have already been here.
Yeah.
And did your teammates die? No. No one died. In fact, they started taking space over here on this side of the map as well. Which the longer you dilly-dally over here is the more compressed your angle ends up being. They are doing their job. They're doing the right thing by rotating out this way. If you were over here by the time that happened, then you would just be flipping the map. You would just kind of be rotating the map around the point, right? Just rotating the map this way. And that's totally feasible. That's something you can do, and that's something that's really, really powerful and important to do, especially on control point maps. Right? So, keep going. Trust the instinct to keep going. Don't trust the I need to save my team.
Yeah, that's so strong intuition, bro.
Right.
So bad.
And then again, you're seeing that you're not doing anything. You're seeing that you're not doing anything, and you're just like, I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to. They're safe. They're fine. And even if they weren't fine, that would be on them for not making the rotation out sooner. Right.
Yep.
The thing is, what you are doing is you are building up your potential. You're building up. Oh, that is funny. You're building up your potential to like. Sorry about that. You're building up your potential pressure later. All of the space that you're taking taking material, right? You're taking fuel. You are recharging. You're taking all of these inches, all the inches of space out here that you're taking up, that you're building up. Boom. Right? Launch it all at the enemy all at the same time with a really perfect angle, perfect positioning, and keep them trapped. Right? But instead, you're going to give up all of the power that you stored up on a hook in main to the hole that does absolutely nothing because there is a no better than that. Right? Okay. And now they're there. I mean, you guys win that. I wouldn't put that on you, though. Um, wait.
Obviously, I didn't do
I know, but like that just
some.
I hate that. I actually hold on. I don't like this. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't. What HP is she at? She's at 204, and it's just.
Oh my god.
Okay, whatever. Whatever,
It's the
bro.
rage bait.
I've been getting one shot by Roadhogs way too much lately, and I don't like this. I don't like
Ah,
this.
I can't complain though.
Oh my god. Of course you can't. Right? Okay. This is another one of those situations where it's like, okay, it's fine to peek here, and it's time to poke. It's fine to poke here, but which side of the map are you going to be leaning to? Which side of the map are you committing to?
Yeah, I should. But it's like the fence is straight behind me there. That would be like just in the center, or do you think
I
with
think
pressure from this would be not okay?
right. Like I think that like this is this is again this is more in the center, but this is like fine in terms of because like you're pretty much leaning over towards the side of the map still by being here. The problem is I think that this is too far. Like you've got the space, your team is there, the setup is there. You might as well like push up, hold up a little bit closer than that. If you hold here, then it's your team is just going to be like right in front of them, and
Of course.
they're just not going to be able to do anything about it.
Maybe I should have gone on the right side then.
Okay. Like right side here, I mean, yeah, sure, you can poke here and then rotate through this way and then control this space on the map. This feels really great, right? Right.
Mhm.
There's also an argument for kind of positioning yourself up here. I don't like this perfectly as much because this feels a little bit awkward for something like a Roadhog, right? At least something that doesn't just have the ability to like kind of drop down and then climb back up or fly back up or something like that, right? Personally, but at the same time, what that gives you though is the ability to control this angle here, which this angle is extremely strong, extremely important to control, right? Also gives you really good opportunities to go and fish for hooks like up here on this bridge or whatnot, down to the Orisa and then pull them up to your team or whatnot. So that's like this is risk, but it's reward, right? Going over here with less risk is a little bit less risky, but also still rewarding. I mean, you can still do a whole lot from back here. But the idea behind it is essentially, am I doing either of those things? No. What side am I going to be leaning to? Do I have to be on the side right now? No, I don't. I can poke. I can do whatever the heck I want right now. But once I can't poke anymore, where am I going? Where am I going? If you don't think about these things, you're not going to understand. You're not going to be able to adjust in time. Right. This is again too far back. Like your echo's already up. Your echo's already up. The echo's already in. The Orisa goes over here and takes the space. If you were up here, your Sojourn would probably be a little bit more comfortable with holding here, right? Or if you're down here, then the Sojourn being back here just means that she's now just on another angle, right? And you could also go over here and you could potentially help out your Echo once the Sojourn comes up here this way. But I mean, like we kind of just like left Echo for dead here. I don't. This is a kind of more of a mistake from like your entire team, not just you. But that's really poor. Beautiful hook.
Thanks.
Okay, I get it. What you're trying to do is not that bad. It's just that they know it's coming, man. It's so obvious.
Yeah, it is.
Right, like this is just gonna be much better. Just sitting here, chilling here, controlling this space is just gonna be much better. And then you can come back here later and then do it so that they don't know, right?
Yeah, it's too obvious, bro. I don't know. I'm just stuck in the mindset that I'm playing against high diamond players because they're so incompetent. So yeah, I had to grow up.
Yeah, definitely. But also, this is can be a thing of like where we have like an initial game plan in our brains, but we don't see the conditions for that game plan to be activated. But instead of throwing that game plan away and trying to make a new one, we just stick with the whole game plan that we already had in our current minds, which we need a little bit more plasticity with being able to like kind of change the plan on the fly, right?
Yep.
But yeah, no, that just sucks. Like you just need to be here. You really really need to be here. And if they hard push you, then it means that they push you without all their angles, and then you can just kind of go back here and just hook somebody and kill somebody. Okay, Winton.
Yeah, no, this. It's like I want to just say sorry in advance. It's so horrible. I tried to remember the don't stay in front of them, just try to get behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get the timing at all, and just the whole team flew to me. So
Okay.
you're just gonna get a perfect example of that in a second.
Right. Okay, so here's my question: is Winston a hero that you actually do want to play more of and want to kind of be better
Yeah,
at?
I usually
Okay.
like to play him, but
Okay.
it's more in a 6v6
Right.
scenario I have used to play him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Winston does kind of change in like 6v6 and 5v5, but I don't necessarily think it's based off of how he plays. I just think it's more off of the decisions that he makes. Right.
Hmm.
He sets up, he stages the same way, he dives the same way, he has the exact same mechanics and whatnot. It's just that like now it's more of like it just becomes a little bit better to play for controlling like space on off angles more, right? Rather than trying to just set up mainly just for like hard dives or soft dives or engages force cooldowns. Like you can actually like go and like take space now and fight for space now, a lot better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Now, whenever we are playing Winston and we look at staging, or whenever we're looking at staging on any other hero, right?
Yep.
The most important concept to understand is the idea of like similar, average distance, right? The
Mm-hmm.
idea behind staging is that if I want to stage in a position, the distance I want to make sure that the distance that I stage away from the enemy team is similar to that of my team, such that I can't get cleared out of my staging by the enemy team essentially saying 3, 2, 1, let's push. Right?
Yep.
So I need to make sure that my distance is going to be pretty much the same on average as the rest of my team's is, right? And then the second thing that's important is by the time I actually engage within their reach, right? My team needs to be able to engage within their reach as well, or within their own reach as well, right?
Mm-hmm. I just look at the picture
Mm-hmm.
right now, and I just think, why did I just jump up there when my team's not like halfway out of spawn?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if we look at this though, if we kind of look at this, right? Now, their team, they did kind of make they were about to make like a really big TP play, sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we look at the distance from you to the enemy team right now, and the enemy team to your team, is it about the same?
From my team to me and the enemy.
All right. So if we kind of look at the distance from the enemy team to your team, right? Right, or about, right, or the enemy team to you, right?
The enemy team is closer to me.
Right, but let's keep in mind the concept of high ground and concept of verticality, right?
Okay,
If these guys,
oh,
pretty much, if all of them need to get to you, right? What would they have to do in order to do that? Well, they'd have
TP,
to, yeah, they would either have
yeah.
to TP, right? So that forces a TP, which is like pretty much the most powerful cooldown in the game at this point right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or go all the way up here, all the way over here, all the way. So your distance is not this, right? Your distance is this or this, right? That's the distance. So if we look at that distance and we look at the situation in terms of like the actual average distance from your team to the enemy team, is this good staging?
I think like the staging in itself is like it's not a bad position, but maybe I did it too early. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, what is this? What is the problem? What is the consequence of doing it too early?
My team's just gonna look at me, and my team like they're not gonna even shoot enemy team.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
for the first point.
Okay.
So I think I just would have waited if I just have to turn around and see where my teammate is, and I didn't do that at all that game. I
Well, yeah,
think.
yeah. But if what I'm trying to get at, what I'm trying to understand, what I'm trying to get at, right, is the fact that like you going up and jumping here and staging here. If you just play recover here, the enemy team cannot push you, or at least if
For
they do
sure.
push you, they have to use SimTP, right?
Mhm.
And since the enemy team cannot push you, you can just sit here and you can wait for your team to kind of be close enough to for you to dive and engage, right? Which means that this is a good staging position, and getting over here is not going to be consequential, right? So this is not a
Yeah.
mistake. This is fine. It just feels off because you're looking at the situation, you're looking at distance in terms of forward and backward as opposed to distance radially, right?
Mhm.
Like, okay, let me see if I can get this to work. Hold on 1 second. I need to hold up. Let me see if I can try this. Yes. Okay, my pen is working.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. So what's going on is if we look and we try and draw like the lanes on the map here, right?
Mhm.
So if we kind of draw the lanes on the map here, you are kind of thinking that the enemy team is about, here, right?
Mhm.
And you're thinking that your distance to the that you are kind of about here and that your team is about here, right? And if we look at the distances there, right? Your distance from the enemy team here. Actually, wait, no, let me do it more on this side. Your distance from the enemy team here versus your team's distance here is much larger, right? But the map is not
Mhm.
linear like this. It can be looked at from a lane perspective in a lot of cases, but when we're talking about things like staging, this is going to be more. We're going to be using more of a radial model, right? This is based off
Okay.
of distance. It's not necessarily based off of paths. So if we look at where you are in comparison to the enemy team, right, versus where your team is, and we kind of draw the circles around, right? You're slightly closer, but the difference is not significant enough for it to be a real issue, right? In fact, if we kind of look at the reach of the team here, if we look at the ability of the enemy team, like where the enemy team can actually like effectively kind of move to and interact with, like you're not within that reach, especially since you're in high ground, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So that's an extremely important thing to kind of consider is the fact that this is not bad. Your distance is not bad. You are not too far forward. Too far forward would look like this. It would not look like this. Right?
Yep.
Okay. That's the problem. Right? You're here.
Mm.
Just chill in this room. But instead, you got panicked. Uh-oh. And then drop. Okay. Trying to now if we kind of look at you diving this music key. Oh, they sim TP'd you. They sim TP'd on you. Okay.
Uh,
Right. Now, mechanically speaking, your dive on this music key was not great, right? You probably should
nope.
be diving here to force him out, but you kind of jumped straight on top of him. There's that. They walked on you with TP, but you got title blasted, and your team is over here kind of taking space this way, right?
Yep.
So, that being said, is this very very bad for you? No. I mean, your team is there. Your team can do things. Your team can shoot now. Your Wuying is there to help you and to support you. I mean, this doesn't necessarily feel awful, right? Okay. Right. Now you did kind of get hit with. What did you get hit with? Did you get javelins? No, you didn't get javelin. Oh, did they? Oh, they had a Wu Yang ult too. Right. Okay. Right. So this is a little bit awkward. This is a little bit awkward, right? A little awkward. If you were to jump anywhere else out, right? What things would you want to be thinking about when you're jumping out?
What you mean by that?
Okay, so you're jumping out, and you're like, okay, I need to choose a position to jump out to. What would be going through your brain?
Just get out to safety as fast as possible.
Okay, so we want to get out to it's a safety, but is some types of safety better than others?
Sure, high grounds, or just
Okay.
behind natural cover.
Okay, so but high grounds behind natural cover, sure. But if we really think about it, are we going to do? What are we going to want to do after we jump out?
Get to a new staging, or
Yeah, get the stage again, right? So we need to jump out, get staging, jump back in. What if we cut out the middleman and we just jump straight from one position out to a staging position, right?
Yeah.
Now, given the scenario where you kind of are, it's going to be hard to jump to a lot of different positions that are going to be more staging positions. But in reality, I know this is going to be a hard decision to find, but if we kind of look at the current situation, you do have an option it's actually going to be very good for you, which is right here. Right? Because this Sojourn can't 1v1 you right now. Plus, she's kind of off the point, and your bubble is going to be coming back well, relatively shortly, right? You can jump up here, control this space out here. The enemy team can't reach you right here. Then you can jump. Then you can, literally, you would just drop back in with bubble later, and then jump out again, maybe up to this high ground or something, right? Or even back up here again, right? The problem is that where you decided to jump was back to your team because you're just thinking, oh shoot, I need to get out, which is fine. It's understandable, right? Because you're kind of flustered. Your brain is chaotic right now because the situation is chaotic. But we need to train your ability to do these things so that you can do them under pressure. Right? Fine. Okay, we stay in the Winston. Thank goodness. Okay. Right.
I used the bubble way too earlier for first.
No, because here's the thing. Here's the thing where it's like yes, I do agree that the bubble was way too early. I'm just wondering if it was more of a hindsight thing, right? Because in this situation, could you have had the time to stop and wait on the bubble trade? Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe you could have, but the Orisa was there, and you only just now saw. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Right. The Orisa was there. It was possible for you to get hit with the javelin, so I think that the early bubble there is fine. Okay. Jump to this position, right? What do
feel
we...
like
Huh? What?
I feel like staging. I just thought about it, but I don't know. I just wanted your opinion. For example, if I just poked from up there and from the staging and just waited, and then went to the left side on top, would that be just awful, or is it?
Okay, so you're saying stay up here, poke, or just like chill, and then jump up here to the left side?
Yeah.
No, not awful. It's a good idea. Very good idea. Right? Okay. Very, very, very good. Very, very strong idea. This, not horrible. It's probably not going to be the best because again your team is going to be probably swinging majority to this angle, and it's better to kind of stage on the off angle and also control the space. Plus from here I can just drop directly onto backline as opposed to having to jump into backline. So yes, that staging position would be better, but this isn't bad either.
But that was also my thought was like if I went to the other option I had, I feel like if they could reasonably just push me with the TP, or did they just use it now?
They just use it now, but yes, they can kind of push you. They can kind of push you with the TP if they do that, which that is kind of going to be a significant thing. The thing that's really problematic about TP, especially on a map like this, right, is the fact that like it's a double-edged sword because there's not really many places that you can stage that are outside of TP range. But if they do actually full commit to the TP and just like send like 3, 4, 5 people like to try and clear something, then it's a significant positional commitment on a map like this, because the second that you drop off of the TP, or the second that the TP is broken or whatnot, then you're kind of a sitting duck in whatever position you're currently in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yep.
it making them TP onto you in a position like this would probably really suck, because then they would just be able to like walk onto the rest of your team right directly after you. Making them TP onto a position like this and then just like trying to run away from that could honestly be like relatively fine. But the biggest and the best way of knowing that you're going to be able to kind of be fine when you do stage is waiting until like your Sojourn is up here, your music key is up here, and then staging this way, because now if they jump you, your Sojourn already has the angle, right?
Yep.
Okay. Right. If we look at the situation, why do you drop?
Because I saw the Sojourn alone, and she was like not paying attention to me.
Sure. Is this Sojourn really alone though?
And not alone.
Yeah.
That's
right. So she's far from her team, sure. Her team's not really looking at her, sure, but she's not really alone. Her team is still there. Her team can still get to there and support her. But the big idea is the fact that we literally just lost 2, and we lost a very very important 2, right? So all we realistically need to do is what I'm trying to say though is the fact that we don't have a condition to kind of just like go in hard here, because we're not going to get this Sojourn either way. All right, the Sojourn's not going to die. So all we need to do is just chill. You just need to chill and wait. And since we have no kind of condition to go in, our team isn't there. There's no one directly, completely isolated that's easily killable, right? We just wait. If they decide to hard try and push us, then we kite out and then we just wait again. Right. I don't like this because we don't have the teammates for this, and now you don't have the off angles, and now you can't stop the Sojourn from being here.
Nope.
Alright. Yeah, Wu-Yang Death is on you, and then lack of cover usage here. This is just really, really sloppy, probably because you were already playing sloppily earlier, and you were just kind of, like, this is just like one of those, like, things where it's like, okay, I'm playing sloppy, I feel sloppy, I'm going to do a whole bunch of things, I'm going to try a whole bunch of stuff, it's going to be sloppy, and it's going to make me feel more sloppy, and, and it's just going to keep going downhill from there. But really good important things is that we understand that you do have an understanding of how to stage. We've defined it a little bit more. We've clarified it a little bit harder, right? You understand how to stage. You understand the mechanics behind staging. There was a little bit inefficiencies here and there, right? But this is now we can separate the staging from the execution and say that your staging was really good, even though you were doubting yourself on the staging. Your staging was really good, right? So, doubt yourself a little bit less when it comes to the decisions that you make, and also look more for the reasons as to why you get pushed out. If you get cleared out of your staging, it is because you are too close, right? Or if you get cleared out of your staging without your team being able to punish, it is because you're too close. If you're way too late to the fight, it's probably because you're too far, right? Then from there, you just choose places based off of your map geometry, just like the Roadhog situation before. Right? Find the range, find the distance that you want to play in, and then play the space that best complements your hero from there. That is within that range. Okay. Okay. Showing this way. Is this fine? Let's look. I mean, okay-ish. The TP is not there anymore, so you technically can just sit here for as long as you want. Okay. Okay. Now your team did just go in like giga early, so I mean, like this kind of makes sense relatively, but like yeah, no, your team did kind of just throw that right there by going in early. Now imagine if instead. Right, now imagine if instead Your team waited for your Sojourn to get back here. Your Sojourn takes this angle, and then we do this. Then I mean, then this becomes a little bit better for us. You know.
Do you think the jump over to the left side there was too early because of the Sojourn, or should I just hold the staging there and just poked
Well,
until she was back?
the concept of too early, right? When it comes to the staging is based off of distance, right? Are you way closer to the enemy team than your team is? If the answer is no, then you're not early. The idea is that you don't want to get within the reach of the enemy before your team is within the reach of the enemy, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one. That's gonna, kind of tell you the timing. Is that if am I in the enemy's range before my team is? If that's the case, then it's too early. If it's not the case, then you can stage wherever you want. And it's actually recommended to stage earlier because then you have more cooldowns and you have more time to kind of gather information, right? The idea, though, is that if I am getting cleared out of my staging, or if there is a threat of me getting cleared out of my staging, it is because I am too close, not necessarily too early, right? Okay. This is fine, and then the drop down here with the bubble is fine. Okay, we don't pop the bubble though, but whatever. But like, yeah, no, it's just over kind of at that point. Right. So we talked about a lot of things. We talked about quite a bit. So now I'm gonna do my favorite part of of the review times. Right. Yippee. Can the pings not be there? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, game. Okay. So, if we are going to make 3 things that we kind of learned today, that we talked about a lot, between the Roadhog and the Winston, right? What 3 things are going to be the biggest things that we're going to be looking at and working on?
For example, micros when I just peek.
Okay. Right. So
I just like taking one side of the map to like get an angle so my team could position up better.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about your lane control. Oh, that is not the button I went to press. So we're going to talk about lane control, and you were saying when your micro when you peak.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about. Actually, I would just put that as timing, right? Right.
Yep.
As well. Okay, and then also, so we kind of talked about lane control, like leaning to sides of the map. We talked about the timing of when you peak. I also want to talk about staging. Right? But not only in terms of Winston, also in terms of Roadhog. Right?
Okay.
So, between these 3 things, right? Lane control. What do you remember? How can we break this down? What are the key things that we need to actually do?
Things we need to do is just not stay in the middle, just take out like the architecture based off what hero I have.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's start with play outsides. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say playing outsides, which means not playing in the middle of the map, playing towards the outsides of the map. Right now, when there is not people on your angle, when there's no one on your angle, what should you do?
Commit.
Okay, so commit to lane. Commit to. I'm pretty sure that's how you spell commit. Commit to your lane, right? But more importantly, what I was kind of looking for was actually let me type that out a little bit better, because that looks a little awkward. So commit to lane, right?
Yep.
And then what I was kind of saying is, like, if there's nobody on your lane, what do you do? You take what?
Take the space.
Take all the space on the lane, right? Take. take all available space, right? So when you are playing and you're playing to control lanes, right?
Yep.
There's one really, really, really big one that I kind of forgot, and I'm gonna put here. Choose one. Actually, I'm gonna put it not under playout says. I'm gonna put it under commit to a lane. I'm gonna say choose one early. Right? So choose a lane early. Right? Just pick a lane, commit to the lane, take all the available space. All right. Now let me go down to
Okay.
staging real quick. All right. So we talked initially about there's one thing that we said when we were talking about staging, which I'm going to put this under staging more so than I'm going to put this into like your lane control, but play to map architecture. Right? It's
Yep.
kind of aligned with the lane control, right? But making sure that you are playing that into a place that kind of benefits your map architecture is extremely important when it comes to staging as well, right? And where we stage. But let's talk about the other thing between Roadhog and Winston, right? What is the most important thing to consider when we're talking about staging? About where you stage.
The distance.
Right. Distance. Similar distance from team. Right? This is really, really big. This is big uh not only on Winston but also on Roadhog as well. Remember when we were talking about certain why you wouldn't take certain positions because they're too far, right? Staying within your team's reach, staying close to your team is going to be able to help you with your staging, keeping a similar distance from the enemy team, especially when you're playing outside of the enemy team's reach, right? On Roadhog or on Winston is extremely important, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm also gonna say like take angles, right? Right. So off angle, right? Two. But on top of all of that, what I do want to say about staging is just really, really big thing that you want to take away is just for especially for Roadhog specifically, play within. That is a horrible within. Team. Hold on. Reach. Right? So whenever you are within the enemy team's reach and you're able to be pushed by like multiple people, play within the reach of your teammates, right? So that your team can support you, or play within their LOS, play in space that your team can control, right?
Okay.
This is going to be extremely important. Okay, now when we're going on timing, right? Actually, you know what? I want to move that up here. I want to move that up here with timing. Right? I want to move that because that makes more sense being on timing. Let me put it up here. So play within team's reach. Right? That's going to tell you when you're going to time your engages. Right? So where's my team? So that's gonna be like the big that like little big thing there. It's like where's my team? Where's my team? Right? But
Yeah.
when we're talking about timing, and especially when we're talking about your exposure, when we're talking about peaking, right? Only peak when you know team can support you, right? And then
Yep.
just an additional little mechanical thing is, right, is just making sure that you're only peeking as much as you're wanting to shoot and you're desiring to shoot, right? Right. So when it comes to that, you're only peeking the enemies that are in the space that you want to contest. You're not peeking on the enemies that are in spaces outside of that, right? So peek only what you want to shoot. That isn't. Let me just move that actually. Right. So if we're peeking and there's an ash all the way outside of the map that we can't reach, that we can't touch, right? Don't even go over there. Don't even peek that. Peek only what's in front of you that you can actually interact with, right? Okay. So, do you got all of that? You want to take a screenshot, write these things down, or something like that?
Yeah, I can take a picture of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Got
I
it.
also took a screenshot and I'm going to send it to you just for redundancy's sake.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Oh, wait, it showed my Epic Pen in there as well, so I mean, I guess you have that too.
Nice. Epic.
Alright, alright, alright. Okay. So, if we're talking about all of these kinds of things and all these kinds of concepts that we're looking for, the biggest important thing that we need to understand when it comes to practice, right, is
Mm.
to take one concept at a time, look at one thing at a time, focus on building one thing at a time, not trying to overload ourselves with multiple things. Just focus on one thing. And I don't mean like these big, giant, overarching concepts like lane control, timing, staging. I'm talking about practicing one individual thing, right? Like this map, I'm going to this game. I'm going to practice on playing outside and not playing inside. I'm just going to make sure I'm constantly staying outside. I'm outside. I'm outside. I'm outside. I'm not. I'm not. I'm on an angle. On an angle. On an angle. Outside of the map. Outside of the map.
Yeah.
Not getting myself sandwiched. That's going to be the one thing that we're going to focus on the entire time, right? And then the thing is, when you want to focus on these things, I want you to keep 100% focus on that one concept throughout the entire game, right? If that is too
Mm.
hard to do, which I know it often is, then just at least make sure that the first 3 team fights in your practice game are perfect, right? Make sure that the
Okay.
first 3 team fights are perfect, and make sure that you can do it completely perfectly for those first 3 team fights. Now I know you won't be doing it perfect, right? But
Yeah.
at least try, right? Now, when it comes to the order in which you want to practice things, I personally would want you to practice your lane control first, because that seems to be the biggest issue and the thing that we can kind of like go over and try and fix immediately, right?
Mm.
Next, I would then go down to staging, right? And practice your staging, because then that allows you to easily practice your timing, right? And because the timing and all that stuff, that only can be that stuff only can come really well to you after you kind of get good decent staging, right? And that stuff is made a little bit easier by lane control as well, right?
Mm.
Now,
Yep.
sometimes the most important thing though to remember when you're trying to practice any of these things is having fun, right? Fun gives you
Sure.
focus. The more fun you're having, the more you can focus on the things that you're doing. The less fun that you're having, the less you can focus on the things that you're doing. So if you're not having fun practicing something, you can always switch to something else, right? Or you can just
Yeah.
take a break, right? Which is something that you should be doing frequently anyway. Make sure to take
It
frequent
is.
breaks when doing these things. Don't try and overburden your brain and let your brain on fire. That is not how it becomes better.
That's just the worst, and it is a pest. That's the worst thing, bro.
Right, 100%. So, I think that should be it. This from last time, from the kind of from the things we went on last time, especially we kind of talked about lane control last time, and we kind of
Mm.
expanded on that. We also talked a little bit about playing to your map space and expanding on that. We kind of expanded a little bit on that too, right? But we also
Mm.
added a whole bunch of new stuff here. Do you think that this is going to be good in terms of practicing points, later on the line?
I think for my part, it was like the first time. It was like a general idea of what I was struggling
Mm-hmm.
in, what in what. But I think this is like the main issue that we have like dug out
Mm-hmm.
what I'm struggling with. So I think this is like the thing that's gonna keep me like a stable,
Mm-hmm.
stable phase and a balanced
Okay.
gameplay if I master these things.
Right. Right.
Because this is what makes me like so unbalanced in different games,
Yeah.
not being able,
Mm-hmm.
able to do all of it.
Right. 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 So again, just practice them one at a time. Right. These
Mm.
things that I've told you here are going to be the same things that I would teach. A plat player in your caliber. Which is going to be the
Yeah,
same thing that I would teach. The rank one player in your caliber. Right. These are not
yeah,
things that you get. These are things that you get better at. These are not things that you solve, that you complete, right? So,
yes,
but these are the most important things that I have identified, right? And these are the things that you can kind of see, which ones that you want to kind of work on first, and then kind of solving that, and well, not solving, but improving a little bit, little by little, on each and every one of those things, and improving your decision making process, right? Okay.
sure, sounds good.
All right, all right. So I think that will be all for the video. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, goodbye everyone. Have a good day.
All right, all right. Peace.